Welcome to the Sophia Chang Show. I've read 55 books in 2019, and I have chosen one to represent my book of the year. Now, we still have 1 month left in the year, and given the average of 5 books per year, I suppose there's still a chance that I could read something that would blow everything out of the water. But I feel so strongly about this book, and also because it is up for, it's nominated in the 11th annual Goodreads Choice Awards, which are still going on for another week. So I'm ready to just crown the king of books, and that is Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. This was not an easy decision for me. I want to give you some context so you can understand how seriously I took this decision. Okay, this is the year that I started the Harry Potter reread. Okay, it's taken this long for me to be able to Dobby again, which means I finally also finished The Cursed Child, the 8th and final installment, the play, which, I mean, it slew me. I am not one of the haters. I have nothing but amazing things to say about that. I cried my eyes out. What else? I read David Litt's Obama memoir. I went through an Obama administration memoir kick, and that book, it wasn't a political book at all. It was one of the most touching. I couldn't believe a millennial wrote it. Okay, let me just say that. You know how much I hate millennials. This podcast is devoted to hating millennials and decrying them and going into great detail about all the ways in which they've ruined the world and my life personally. But damn, this millennial could write. So this book is called Thanks Obama. I mean, a lot of this stuff, these are all books I've read kind of more in this latter half of this year that moved me to no end. You know, I also went through a Saturday Night Live memoir book kick all year long, and some of those were written extremely well. I can't say enough about the amazing books that I read this year. So for me to determine that a non-fiction book categorized under science and technology, STEM. Can I tell you how much I hate STEM? There is not a person on earth who hates STEM more than me. Like, I cannot math for the life of me. I have a fear of numbers. I just think it's just the most heinous thing on earth. I am so humanities, it's not even funny. And so for me to determine that Cal Newport's Digital Minimalism is going to be the 2019 book of the year, according to the Sophia Chang, is a big freaking deal. Digital Minimalism is one of those books that snuck up on me. I actually gave it 4 stars originally because I didn't get very much out of it the first, I would say, 24-hour afterglow. And it took some time for it to start to change my life. And then I started to re-listen to it. A lot of that had to do with the 80-20 rule. 80% of the content didn't feel applicable to me at first blush because I have already been a digital minimalism for a really long time. If you guys remember earlier this year, I recorded, I think it was episode 24 or 25. I took Instagram off my phone and my suicidal thoughts diminished. So I've been off social media for a really long time now. In fact, I will be posting when it's my 1 year completely off social media. I know it doesn't look like I'm off, right? You see me tweeting about the podcast. I guess my secret's out now. But anyway, next podcast, we'll talk about that. But, you know, I've already been hyper aware of the evils of social media through my own depression and the reduction of my suicidal thoughts when I cut social media interactions out of my life. So a lot of that was just kind of him providing the scientific data to back up what I experientially already knew to be true. So I didn't think that this book had a lot of relevance or things that I could apply until I got to this one part, and that's the 20% of the 80-20 rule. And for those of you unfamiliar with the 80-20 rule, it's the 20% that makes all the difference. The part that changed my life to an extent which I could not have predicted is when he expounded on MIT professor Sherry Turkle's concept of moving from connection back to conversation. This is called the conversation-centric communication, which is Newport's expansion on this concept. It wasn't even his concept, right? It wasn't even his concept, but it changed my life so profoundly. And I mean, that's what it is, right? These ideas that make sense, that have the most stickiness, are not new, crazy, out there ideas necessarily. They are ideas that make sense because they've been around, and that's why we like them. Newport himself is a professor of computer science at Georgetown. He went to Dartmouth, got his PhD from MIT himself, which is probably why he's familiar with Turkle's work. But anyway, the biological data behind conversation-centric communication is that the oxytocin generated from real-time conversation is what forms genuine bonds. It makes real friends versus the Coke addiction dopamine that you get from a social media quote unquote connection. That's the somebody liking, somebody, giving you that real bullshit, cool thoughts and prayers, hashtag something or other, you hear me going into that voice again, the voice I take on when I really, really hate something. So I implemented this pretty much immediately, within 24 hours. I was in the shower listening to this audiobook. This is where I actually listen to a great bulk of my audiobooks. Yes, the new iPhone is supposed to be waterproof. No, I don't bring it in the shower. I have it outside on my shower bench. Those of us who are disabled, we know what the shower bench is. And so a lot of it, if it's a transfer bench, it sticks outside of the shower. So that is where I put the phone. And I was in the shower. I'm a night showerer because I think it's disgusting to go to sleep dirty. Like, I don't understand. How do you get into bed gross? It's just so gross. Your bed is just disgusting. I don't want to get into your bed. So I'm a night showerer. And the next morning, I already implemented this. And I basically, told somebody that, I can't just keep on having this email-based fake friendship. Anything that's message-based, be it a text message, even an audio message, a video message on Marco Polo, an email, anything that you can create, send to them and just leave it and walk away from it, and you can think about it before you actually send it to them. You can delete it. That's curated. So that's not real. That gives you the dopamine spike, which is going to give you the crash and burn, and it doesn't form a real relationship. A real relationship requires live interaction with another human being, which I know scares the shit out of millennials. So a couple things happen when you start implementing conversation-based communication. First, right away, anybody below the age of 30 just drops out of your life. So I noticed that happen 2 years ago when I first started getting sick, and I went blind for a couple of months. And so as you can imagine, I could not text message. That was a little difficult. And immediately anybody under the age of 30 freaked the fuck out. They were just like, what? I can't Snapchat you? I don't understand. How am I going to contact you? And I'm like, little boy, the little box thingy in your hand, that makes phone calls. But oh well, to no avail. At age 25, apparently, you're still too young to know how to work a phone. So, good riddance. So that happened. There was the first wave of the millennials leaving my life, and back then I still was a millennial. Cal Newport claims to be a millennial. Listen, the dude is like just about my age, okay? We are no longer millennials. Yes, technically we are. We are technically. However, I think once you pass 35, once you know how to pay your own bills, once you're doing your own laundry, once you're not forming an indentation on mommy's couch anymore, you're not a goddamn millennial, okay? You're an adult. You've got a life. You know how to live. You're not a millennial. So Newport, dude, you're like a freaking tenured professor. You're on your tenure track. I can tell. You're not a millennial, man. So, to me, millennials are still a certain age group, and that age group will drop out of your life the second you tell them that they need to learn to hold a conversation. So that's one quick way of getting rid of them. And everybody else, it kind of falls 50-50. The ones who already use the thing that you're holding to listen to me talk, which is called your phone. Back in the day, there was a wire connected and it goes into the wall and then it goes and through the magic of fiber optics. Yes, yeah. I go on and on about how I hate STEM, but hey, you can't graduate from Harvard without some science requirements, okay? So I chose the one that taught me what fiber optics were. And in order to pass the class, I bullied the physics major in my house every week to help me with my problem set. Sorry, Joy Dip, but, thank you, man, because of you, I'm magna cum laude. What? You gotta do what you gotta do, and I'm from New York. It's always the little ones, right? It's always the little ones you gotta watch out for. Anyway, it was 50-50. Half of my friends already were making phone calls. The other half, let's just say when you put digital minimalism into practice, you will learn how few friends you have. For me, I have one. I have one that I live with, who's my roommate, and I have one who is too far away for me to see in person, so we just talk on the phone. It's good times. Good times for everybody. Did you hear that? Converse-centric? I think I just coined a new term. Yeah, take that, Turkle. Take that, Newport. Shoot. All you white people, move aside. Chang is in town with her Damn it. I can't even remember what I said. I need to write this down before one of you mofos steals it. But anyway, go to Goodreads, vote for his book, read his book, try to learn how to have a conversation. And yeah, you can go ahead and follow me on Goodreads if you want. I will interact with people on Goodreads grudgingly. This is 2019 Year in Review Month, and I wanted to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening. Because if it wasn't for you, this podcast would just be me recording into my phone for no reason, which is really, really weird. The Sophia Chang Show is a labor of love and pretty much the only thing that has given me any purpose at all since Annie Mogg, so every listen counts. What you could do to help me is spread the word about the show by sharing it with your friends and leaving a 5-star review on iTunes or any platform you listen on. It means so much to me that you're listening.